Hey y'all, Mrs. Roar here. Today we're going to be doing our first math video of the year. Make sure you are open up in your math notebook and open up to a fresh sheet. I know we probably have a warm up in there already, so open up to a clean sheet. And please at the very top right hand corner put today's date. Don't just write the word date, but write today's date. And then on the very first line, please make sure you label it Lesson 1. Ratios homework, because today in class we went over notes lesson 1 and now we're going to do the homework. So the very first thing is we are going to write a definition. So our definition is for ratio. Now a ratio is an ordered pair of non-negative numbers which cannot both be 0. Now non-negative numbers can be positive and they can be 0. But both numbers cannot be 0. Now some examples of a ratio written in 3 different ways is 3 to 2 using the 2 dots, 3 to 2 using the word 2, or 3 over 2. Now all 3 of these examples both represent the same ratio. That's just the 3 different ways we can write it. So please make sure you are writing down this full definition and all of the examples in your math notebook. Feel free to pause this video at any time. Now our second vocabulary word for today is ratio relationship. Now this is a statement that describes ratios. As you remember today in class, ratios do not have units or description words. So a ratio relationship is a way that we can describe the ratio to know more about it. For example, 3 cups to 4 cups describes the ratio 3 to 4. Without that ratio relationship, we're not really sure what 3 to 4 means. Make sure this is written down in your math notebook. Now our first example today is the co-ed soccer team has 4 times as many boys as girls. We say the ratio of boys to girls is 4 to 1. Make sure you have that written down in your math notebook. Now we're going to make a ratio table to see what this means. Now ratio table is just one of our many tools we use to help us understand ratios. So to set up our ratio table, we are going to write boys because they came first in our ratio. Then we're going to write girls because they came second. We're also going to include number of players total, because sometimes it's really good to see how many people or how many pieces are in the ratio as a whole. Now you're also going to write a line going down between each of those categories. And we're going to write our first ratio, which was 4 to 1, because it says we say the ratio of boys to girls is 4 to 1. And 4 plus 1 would give us the number of total players, which is 5. Now we're going to make an equivalent ratio. An equivalent ratio is a ratio that has the same value as another ratio. Now they use different numbers and may look different, but if we were to reduce each ratio down to the original ratio or the smallest that ratio can be, they would have the same value and be the same. So a great way to create an equivalent ratio is to multiply both pieces of the ratio by the same number. So I always like to start by doubling or multiplying both pieces by 2. So I know that 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 times 2 is 2. And if I add up 8 and 2, I would get 10 total players. Well, then if I want to make a third equivalent ratio, I can go back to that first ratio, 4 to 1, and I can triple it or multiply it by 3. Well, when I do that, I find out that 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 3 is 3. And total players would be 12 plus 3, which is 15. Now, I don't always have to go in order multiplying by 2, multiplying by 3, but I can, and I generally do that when I'm creating my ratio tables. You can really pick any number to multiply by the original ratio to create any equivalent ratio. My last one, though, I just multiplied by 4. So see if you'll get the same answer I do. Multiply 4 to 1 by 4. So if your ratio is correct, you should have found that 4 times 4 is 16, 1 times 4 is 4, and the total. More students decided to join the co-ed soccer team. Remember, co-ed meaning boys and girls. And now the ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 2. So we're going to create one more ratio table with equivalent ratios to see, well, what's going to happen to those numbers. So again, we start off with boys, girls, and total number of players. That's because in the sentence it says boys to girls, so boys always has to come first and then girls would be second. If instead it said girls to boys, girls would come first and boys would come second. After I have my ratio table set up, I put in our first ratio, 3 to 2. And I know that the total number of players, if I have 3 players and 2 players, is 5 players. Now, see if you can use the skills we just talked about to find 3 more equivalent ratios. Start off by multiplying each piece of the ratio by 2, by 3, and then by 4. Always go back to the original ratio so you do not get confused. So right now, pause this video so you can complete that before I reveal the answers. Okay, you should have unpaused the video by now, and if your answers match mine, you have done a fantastic job. If your answers are different from mine, see if you can figure out where you may have made a mistake. So I know I had to go back and multiply 3 by 2 to get 6, and 2 by 2 to get 4. Multiply 3 by 3 to find 9, and 2 by 3 to find 6, and lastly 3 by 4 to find 12, and 2 by 4 to get 8. I hope this gave you a good review of ratio tables and equivalent ratios to get you ready for the rest of this week. Have a great night and enjoy your day.